Hello, hello, and welcome back to, Minotaur Hotel. That's what we're playing today. Still having fun morning adventures with Asterion. What games did Asterion play when he was a kid? Thumb wrestling may not have been one of them, but it awakens something in him nonetheless. He laughs, giggles, flicks his ears, and thrashes his tail around. It is hard to say for sure, but even his cheeks seem a little flustered now. These intervals of childish wonder cannot last long, however. The living room is still a mess. After your playtime, Asterion 1, the two of you tidy up the place, carrying still the soreness in your cheeks that comes when one laughs too much. At times, he offers you an unashamed glance, with no attempt of hiding it.
Oh, would Master believe me if I said you reminded me of an old friend?
Really? What was he like?
Perhaps. That is a matter for another time. We do have our duties to attend to, do we not? And I have a mess to clean up as well.
You take a good look at the floor. I am afraid you are right. In fact, we have a special mission for today. One of exceptional importance.
Is that so? Now, what does my wise lord have in mind?
Well, do you remember our conversation last night about the internet? That's what we need to do. Connect this lonely place to the outside world. Nowadays, all guests expect to have an internet connection whenever they stop by a hotel. We need to keep up with modern times.
Ah, yes, I remember now. You wish then for me to take you to that place I told you about. Very well. Is the master ready? May we proceed?
Yes, let's go. Asterion walks to the door, leading back to the staircase, but stops. You hear the faintest sound. Is he humming? The door clicks, and what you see outside is nothing like the inviting light from the staircase. A tunnel stretches ahead of you, sloping down. Its walls are raw, bare stone. Asterion walks in as if there was nothing out of the ordinary in what just happened. He gives you only a brief glance, inviting you to follow. As soon as you cross the door, the very air around you changes. A bitter dampness hits you like a truck. It pries your mouth open and burns it way into your lungs. The entire hotel so far had air so dry it could make your nose bleed. Oh, okay. So like the first thing I would need here is like 80 humidifiers is what I'm hearing. But this place is already covering your skin in a sheet of sweat and grime. Just being here makes you feel dirty. But Asterion keeps going, and you follow along a few feet back. The light from the doorway behind you grows dimmer, and the farther you go, the louder are the Minotaur's footsteps. The two of you travel a labyrinthian set of twists and turns, and with each shift, the walls change further into polished rock. The air worsens to such an extent that you have to make an effort not to cough. Regardless, your tongue is covered by a bitter oil that you can neither swallow nor spit out. The harsh sound of Asterion's hooves against stone, echoing all the way down the corridor, is both an invitation to proceed and an unnatural sound of pushing you out of this place. Okay. Sorry, I was looking at something. I get distracted easy, I'm sorry. That is, until the Minotaur steps on something brittle. You brag. Wait, you drag. Okay. Drag your feet along the floor and can feel the texture of the stone change. Its former smoothness has given way to a rougher, harsher surface that scrapes against your soles. Okay. The claustrophobic corridor gives way to a large chamber. It is darker than any room you have seen in the surface thus far, as safe perhaps for the old cold room, but light from the from some source that you can't quite determine still allows you to examine the chamber in full detail. The polished stone floor and walls, even outside the doorway, leads to the previous corridors, are covered with a thin layer of purple dust. The layers get thicker and thicker as your eyes follow them to the center of the room, where a larger wall of crystalline rock in that same dark color cuts the room in half. To the right and left, there are two large wooden tables on which a number of people could have worked together. Their legs are also covered in purple dust and seem to be stuck to the floor by growths of crystal. Books, sketches, documents, and schematics are strewn across the table, and an old vase holding writing quills fashioned out of peacock feathers sits among the mess. Stone columns along the wall support the shadowed ceilings. They too are covered in dust, but the red and black paint that lies underneath is bright and fresh. The middle portion of the room's floor is peculiar. It seems to have been a shallow pool once, a foot deeper than the floor around it. But now it's dried and covered by a thick outgrowth of purple rock. At the very center of the chamber is a wide basin, consumed by the same rock.
This is it. We call it the bedrock. The stone you see is a form of obsidian. This place is as old as the labyrinth. It has always existed.
You rub your hand on the crystal wall. The stone is brittle, and with a flick of your finger, you break off a shard. Just rubbing it between your fingers turns it into the coarse powder that sucks up the air's humidity. As you proceed to examine it, you feel that the strain it leaves on your hand is irregular. There are oily black spots and watery red blotches.
My lord, it's dirty, covered in centuries of old dust and grime. For your own good, I would advise against touching the obsidian.
Oh, good thinking. You rub your hand on your shirt.
Thank you. I would rather not see the master coming in contact with impure substances. I would further recommend you change your clothes once we return.
The Minotaur takes a step towards you, is standing between you and the wall of dark crystals.
May we proceed? The basin at the center of the room, that's what we use for the radio.
This is the equipment that broadcasts radio signals?
I suppose that is one way to put it. A more appropriate description is that it is the realm's link to the outside world.
You take a look into the basin. It is hard to know for sure, since it is covered in dark stone, but it is almost as if there is no bottom to it.
This room is the closest place to the outside world. If we can say that, it operates by different rules. Millennia ago, it was a shrine to the god Hermes, a patron of trade and messengers. There are other such locations in this realm dedicated to specific gods. The master, for a long time, used it as a dock to send and receive goods from the outside world. Then it became a post room. Then the hotel was established. If you can offer adequate instructions, it will find a way to transport goods back and forth. Back and forth. It could receive radio signals from the outside after we instructed it on how they work. If you can describe how the internet works, then it can be done. That will connect the realm to the whatever the internet is. Then, if it's anything like radio, it can retransmit signals to your equipment.
And how can we teach it to do that? What is the process? Oh, procedure.
The contract. Yes, everything in this realm works by means of contracts, mainly those signed by the master. Your will, save a few exceptions, is, sovereign. In a single contract, we can describe how the internet works, and then command the hotel, though the basin through the basin, it connect to it.
Hey, that's kind of like programming a computer.
Pardon?
It's how computers work, and that's what I mean. They follow your instructions, nothing more. If you give a computer bad instructions, they won't work. You need to be very precise. Tell it step by step, in its own language, what it needs to do.
Yes, I suppose your comparison is adequate. That indeed is how the hotel works. Which reminds me, I have yet to offer you the instructions on how to summon objects, don't I?
Yes, I've been here for a few days already, and yep, I'd really like it if you could help with that.
I am frightfully sorry for my negligence, my lord. Had it not been for the unexpected circumstances under which we met, I would have taught you on your very first day as master.
Don't worry about that. Now, tell me, how does it work?
Very well. For starters, the labyrinth can generate most materials and substances found in nature. That includes animals and plants, products. It can generate living beings as well, but for a number of reasons, that function was disabled. It's a long story. We can discuss it another time. The labyrinth can generate complex constructs and manufactured objects, if you can instruct it on how said thing can be built with raw material. For clothes, we have quite the archive instructions. You can trust the hotel to manufacture even complex garments without issue. It cannot, however, fabricate currency. Neither will it produce metal like gold or silver in large quantities, and a few other substances which were used in commerce back when the realm was created. And if a large mass of goods produced by the labyrinth are exported to the outside world, it may become rebellious and refuse to obey orders for a while. The gods put these restrictions in place to stop mortals from using the labyrinth for profit.
I see. But that's not an effective restriction, is it? I can imagine a number of ways that can be sidestepped if I wanted the profit. We can't make gold and silver, but what about precious gems? Those are valuable enough that we can export a small amount for high profit.
Yes, good catch. That is what we used to do, in fact. We had a contract on the outside world, who would receive our gems, sell them without leaving a trace, and send over the currency. That way, we could pay our employees, and we were not at all stingy, I might add.
Interesting. So this whole system is, shall we say, abusable.
Yes, my lord. There is no doubt about that, after all. Is that not what enabled us to build this establishment? The gods sentenced me to eternal damnation, but we found a way to make something good of it. And we accomplished it by, shall we say, being quite creative and light-footed when interpreting the base rules they established. This is no different from how we managed to bring radio to the hotel. I doubt Hermes ever imagined the use we could the uses we could come up with for this shrine. It is fortunate that the gods were, shall we say, quite sloppy with how they worded the rules for this realm. Ah, there is one more thing. The labyrinth can muster materials, but as I said, it needs the instructions on how to put them together. For things such as books, it can copy books with which already exist here, but it cannot summon a book it does not know. With that said, may I teach my lord how to summon it done, how summoning is done.
Well, you have to make sure that the the monster you're trying to summon is level 4 or lower, because those are the only monsters that you can normal summon without tribute. So, and if you want to like synchro summon, you need a tuner monster. You need to send a tuner and a non-tuner, and you can synchro summon a synchro monster with the level whose sum is of the monsters used as material. But I'm good Asterion. I know how this works. Yes, I'm ready. Let's do it.
It is a simple affair. Ah, perhaps you shall find it silly, but believe me, for this task, you need only hum this song in particular.
The Minotaur begins humming, a slow and drawn-out melody. Asterion's humming at times quiver, lingers, stretches itself. The song itself is simple, easy to learn, and quite unlike what you'd hear from a modern musician. Although he does not sing any lyrics, it would seem he is thinking of them and humming in unison. After repeating the song 2 more times, he stops.
We need to call to the labyrinth. Inform it we are making a demand. We require an unequivocal gesture. Over the centuries, the masters have employed a number of actions for this, such as snapping their fingers and tapping their feet. But my lord can imagine how problematic it was when they would unwittingly give commands to the hotel. So for a few centuries now, we have adopted this song as the gesture. A master needs only to hum it. With time, you will even be able to do it without noticing. If I am around, I can hum it for you as well. That works just the same. I hummed it in your stead when you tried summoning clothes for me. And now, state what it is you desire.
You repeat the song Asterion just hummed, and you think of something simple you can summon to test the labyrinth's ability. Perhaps a small gift for the Minotaur. Which one would he like? Oh, I think the neckerchief would be cute, but like, you know, the wristbands go with more things. You picture a small wristband. If the labyrinth can summon kitchen equipment or modern articles of clothing, something simple like like some beads and string, it shouldn't be difficult to make. You close your eyes and hum the same tune Asterion did earlier. You feel the familiar shifting of the lights in the room, but this time the tiled floor vibrates under your feet as well. The dark rocks around you crackle, like charcoal crackling together as it poured on a bonfire. Then you jolt at the sensation of the rocks shattering and pouring over you. But when you open your eyes, the wall is intact and unchanged. Perhaps because you're so deep in the heart of the labyrinth, within its lowest layer. And there it is. It's not a complex design at all, but some black wooden beads and metallic rings with a string running through them. Asterion looks at what you made and smiles.
Not bad for your first try.
You look back at the Minotaur and take his hand. It goes limp in your touch, but now you feel his entire body relax as you tie the wristband for him.
Thank you, Master. It doesn't suit me.
Oh, yeah, it does show. Okay. Yes, looks great. All right, enough messing around. How about we get started on the internet thing? Where do we even start? Asterion excuses himself to go back into the tangled hallway, and returns a few minutes later with a folder full of schematics. He lays them over the two tables. Asterion lets you skim through uninterrupted. You cannot make sense of them. It's a jumbled mess of geometric drawings and calculations. For the next hour, you and Asterion try to crack the puzzle. He explains to you how a team decades ago made these schematics to translate a radio's functioning into the hotel's bedrock. And you, in turn, try to explain to the best of your abilities how the internet works. It becomes apparent that no matter your previous expertise, there is so much about the nitty-gritty of the internet's workings that you cannot describe from memory. This will take quite a bit of research, and if it's just you and Asterion, it would take days or weeks to accomplish. Your concentration is broken when you hear the shudder of rock moving against itself just behind you. You turn around, but nothing has changed. It's still the same dark, humid room.
Is something the matter?
I could have sworn I heard something moving behind me.
I am afraid I heard nothing, my lord. Perhaps you are just getting tired.
That may be the case. Would you mind if we took a little break?
Yes, about that. Would Master be willing to hear out an impertinent suggestion from the servant?
Before you have a chance to respond, he lets out a giggle.
I'm just pulling your leg. I assume you would, as you were about to tell me, not to call myself a servant in that matter. I can be witty too, my almighty lord. Now, getting to the point. You see, this is somewhat late in the morning. A new guest might arrive soon. If the both of us stay here to work on this task, then who will greet them in the lobby? The process of drafting the contract requires a great deal of specific knowledge, so I should stay here to do it. Could we perhaps recruit Luke to assist me, while you man the reception?
That sounds reasonable. I'm not sure he knows a lot about the internet, but he might be able to give you a hand to a certain extent. You can assign guests to the research and development team. What? Watch tutorial. At the start of every in-game day, you'll be given the chance to assign some of your guests to a team and perform tasks to improve the hotel. The R&D team will research technology projects to expand the hotel's capability, or work out new contracts that modify the rules of the hotel. Okay. To assign a guest to a team in the guest management screen, click/tap on their icon. 1. Okay. And then select the appropriate option? Okay. Similarly, you can dismiss a guest already assigned to a team by clicking and tapping their icon in the team and selecting the dismiss option. Every guest has a set of stats, tech, and contract. The higher this stat is, the more a guest can contribute towards completing a project of each type. Every session, your team's stats total will be spent towards working towards a reward, such as completing a tech project or crafting a contract. Every reward has a stat requirement that must be met for you to obtain it. If your team cannot reach that total, don't worry, your progress towards obtaining a reward will carry on to a future session. Okay. You can see this tutorial at any time in the help menu. Good. Oh. Okay, his tech is 2. So, okay. Coda is unavailable. Okay. Oh, I can dismiss. Okay, so this is where I can, like, dismiss them. Okay. Finish? Okay.
No, very well, my lord. I shall realize you will be, I shall, realize your will, post-haste. I shall summon Luke for his help.
Your guest stats can be seen in the guest screen in the menu. You can expect your current team members in the team screen. Where are these? Would it be in Ledger? It is in Ledger. Okay. Ritano. With that, you head out. Just as you are leaving, you hear it again. The sound of the rock groaning against itself right behind you, beyond your grasp. Okay. Okay, I'll end the part here, so I'll see you around, everyone.